So, well, that's my name, or Silvia already said it. And she also said what I have studied. So I first came to Valencia in 2000 to study maths. I'm from a little town in the province of Murcia, in the south, a little bit southeast of Spain. So it's just below the Valencian community, so close to here. And I decided to came to Valencia to study maths. At the beginning, when I came here, and I say where I am from, because I think the decision that you make to study something is very much related to who you are and where you came from. So I didn't have a very clear idea of what I wanted to study. I really knew that I like maths. I have a really good teacher in bachillerato, like in the high school, and I knew that I want to study something related with maths. So at the beginning I decided that I will do architecture. So that was my first option. But then, since as I told you, I live in this small town where there are many old-fashioned people at that time, and some people from around my family told me that architecture, and this is something related to the project and the things that we presented today, architecture was something for men, and it was not really something for women. So at that moment, I said, okay, so what can I do that have maths, and it's something that my family and my friends will see as something for me. And then I decided to study maths, because from my first point of view, for the first ideas that I have, is something that then I can become a teacher. And that is something that everybody considered at that moment for girls. So that was my first idea. Of course, when I arrived to the university, everything changed. I started to see the life in a different way. I started to realize how hard it was that someone close to me told me that architecture was something for men, and that is not the reality. But it has to be a while, and I have to live many things to realize about that. Of course, at this moment, I think there are many less people that would say that, but still there are some. So it's important to keep trying to say everybody that every career is for everyone. So, well, I arrived here, I studied mathematical sciences, and I liked them a lot. And I didn't like that much the part of teaching, but I like teaching a lot. But it was not my main idea when I was finishing the degree. I wanted to do something that can help other people. I wanted to do research. I wanted to do something that was a little bit more social in a way. So then at some point someone came to the class and explained something about finances and how mathematics can help in finances, in banks and in economy. And I liked it. I don't like economy, I must say so. But then I say, well, if it can help in economy, there are maybe there are other places where I can also do mathematics and help. And then they taught me about statistics. I have had some subject during the degree about the statistics, but not that much. But then I decided to go for another degree in statistics. So I finished both, the degree in mathematics and the degree in statistics. And then I wanted to go to work in a company or where I can apply statistics and do something. But another thing happened, because life is like that. You go and you find different paths and you have to choose at every step you go. And then, in that point, I found a group of research, a research group in the University of Valencia in the Department of Statistics and Operation Research. And I loved what they were doing because they were doing something related with health. They were trying to solve problems And so I will say that later. But so they were trying to solve problems related with health. And health is something that now is really important, and we all know that. And one of the things they were working in was in these kind of models that we now know a lot. You know, SIR models. Have you listened about them? Have you listened about how to model COVID? And these slow down the curve and all these things that they say at the beginning of the pandemic? So some of them were working in these kind of models. And I just take here I didn't want to put the animation, but okay, I will just show you the model. So the idea in these kind of models is that you have some group of people which is susceptible of being infected at some point, and then they are infected, and at the moment they are infected, then has some cure, and they get recovered. And you will see that picture, and you may say, well, that is not COVID, that is zombies. This is because when I explain this kind of models, and I am doing this from way before the pandemic came, I used to explain this kind of models with a zombie attack. So that's why in the picture you may find zombies. But going to the point, the idea is that I found a group of research that were working in a theoretical way, because they were developing methodology for studying health in many different ways. Yes, tell me.
Actually, I just want to know if your work is like constant programming.
So, what?
Constant programming. Programmation par contrainte.
Sorry, can you repeat
I
it?
see that your work is like constraint programming.
Constraint programming?
Programming, yes. Programming.
Programming. Yeah, okay, sorry. I didn't understand the word. Yeah, a lot of programming. Yeah. So when we work in this kind of models, you have to program them, and you have data on one side. My work at the beginning was more theoretical, like developing the methodology, like mathematical. I keep my thesis, most of part of my thesis was doing integrals and that kind of things. But then when I started to work really in research, I needed to learn a lot about programming, and I'm still learning every day because it's something that I really need for my work. Well, so at that point, I decided to stay with them, to do a PhD with them in this developing methodology for this kind of health models. In particular, my work was in methods for detecting which variables are involved in a process. So imagine when you go to the doctor and they say that you have high cholesterol, and they know that cholesterol is related to some other variables like heart attacks or other these heart-related diseases. They know that because they have made somehow a study to know which variables are related to heart attack. Okay, so that's the idea for the tools that I was developing at that point. Then I also started to work with these kind of models, trying to see which variables can be related with the attack of a zombie. Because if you think about it, it's not the same to get bite by a zombie in Walking Dead or by a zombie in Game of Thrones. They're not exactly the same. Are you agree with me? So that's the idea. So that is what I work in. And where I work in is in the Department of Statistics and Operation Research. And I'm glad to say that in my department, the proportion of women and men is more or less the same. If you move to companies and if you move to enterprises, it's a little bit different. But if you look at the academic in statistics, and of course mainly in biostatistics, you will find a lot of women there. Okay, so that's what I can say about the proportion in my work. Also, apart from,
Do you know what causes the difference? Why is the division different in private companies compared to the university?
I think the real value. I mean, when you say biostatistics, when you work in things related to health, it's not really because academic. Because I know about other departments of statistics where the balance is not that much.
Okay.
But in my department, we work a lot with things related with health.
Okay.
And I think that makes a difference a little bit.
Yeah.
Also, in any case, statistics is better positioned than mathematics nowadays, for example, or, and this is important, is better, is more equilibrated than if you think about what is now called data science. If you move to data science, which is sometimes related with engineering and is most of the times in engineering schools, then you won't find that half-half, that you will find 20% women, 80% men. So that is, at least from my point of view, and from what we have seen from the project, from the Girls4Stem project. Okay? So apart from doing research, I of course teach, and I can say now that I like teaching a lot. It was not my main purpose when I started, but then I realized I also like it. So this work is something I like a lot because you can do both. You can teach and you can also do research. And you can also work with people outside academy. You can work with companies that came looking for your help, or you can work with other research groups, and you can work from statistics, you can work in any field you like. I have done things with people in sports. We have done things with people in health, in economy also, and in agriculture, in many other different places. So that's what I like the most from my work. And having said that, sorry, I put this in, I don't know why it's in the wrong place. Having said that, all the things I do in principle had something to do in a way with these sustainability development goals. Because you can use statistics or also data science if you want. You can use them to solve, trying to solve, or more than solving, trying to understand what is going on and how you can help in different ways. For instance, if we go back mentally to the model of the SIR models from explaining COVID, that kind of models can be helpful in many other fields where you just have an spread or of something. It can be in economy, it can be these false news that you have in TV. It can be, of course, a disease, but also a social disease like, I don't know, smoking. It's something that spreads around. So it can help a lot. Okay? So that's something that can help in many different goals. And trying to present a little bit our project. So, as I said, from the moment I came to the university and I had this first idea that I came in here to study something that then would make me be a teacher. From that moment, when I realized that that was not true and I can do whatever I want, I started to fight to try to make everybody know that and everybody understand that. So I started to work on my own a little bit, trying to do some talks in schools and things. But then I found Silvia, and she was already developing this project. And what I want now to do is to present you some facts, some figures about what is going on, and then I will try to tell you what are we doing to trying to solve it, let's say. So what we know now is that only 7% of the students are pursuing a technological career. that is really a problem. And it's not a matter of man or woman. It's a matter of everybody. Most of the works in the future will be related to technology. And if that very few people wanted to study it, who is going to be in charge of those positions? So we need more people studying this kind of degrees, okay? Then, of course, only 28% from the students that decide to do a technological career are women, and only 20% are engineers. So the percentage is larger in general, because in maths, despite now we don't have that balance of 50-50, but still we have 40-60, so it's not that bad. And architecture also have a very, despite what my aunt told me, nowadays it's more or less half-half. So that's why it's a little bit higher in general than specifically in engineering careers. Okay. Also, we have that in computer Spain, with this, the most dramatical fact is that in 30 years we have gone from the 30% to a 12% of women. Do you know this Hidden Figures movie? Do you know that the first, so if you haven't seen that movie, it's a really good one. It talks about a real thing and something that happened. And it's the programmers of the NASA, these girls that were, they were black, they were hidden, that's why they call it Hidden Figures, it's a word game. And what they did is they do the maths for Apollo to arrive and to get back to the moon. And also, one of them, at the end of the movie, one of them was programming one of the first computers, which all of their partners, all the men in the room, had no idea of how to do that. And for that moment, programming was really a thing for women. I mean, in terms that it was not something important, it was something very thought to be mechanical. So it was like, let them do it. But at the moment it became to be important and well seen, and the enterprises wanted people to do that, then the number of women in the studies of computer engineer started to go lower and lower. And in the last 30 years, as I say, in Spain, not even in the US or any other places, in Spain, we had from a 30% to a 12%. Okay? So that's what we found. So in Europe, only 30% of the 7 million people who work in the ICT sector are women. So we are talking about really, really low percentage of in all this. So apart that we need more people, we need more women also. Okay, so we have here also the numbers specifically by each degree. In architecture, as I said, we have a larger percentage. Then we have art and humanities is where we have the most. Experimental sciences, health sciences, social and legal sciences, and the total. So if you see that numbers, so when we talk about the students in Spain, what they decide to study, then we have that most of the, isn't working? Okay. So most of them go to health sciences. Okay? So the numbers are, sorry, I didn't say that, is in the University of Valencia, the blue one. Is that Celia? The blue one is University of Valencia. Am I right?
One of them are from Spain and the other.
Yeah, no, but it's, I don't, okay, yes. So the blue is Spain and the purple one is the University of Valencia. Okay, so that's the difference in the two bars. Okay? So that's a little bit the numbers of the studies in Spain. This is engineering, and you can see that the percentages of people in engineering is really low, and from many years to now. And as I said, we are not only losing the potential of all people, but also the potential of half of the population, which are weak. So what you decided to do? Because the question here is related with what you asked before, is why? This is something just related to they don't want to, and it's okay. I mean, I'm not going to say anybody what they have to do in life, of course. But it's only related to that, or there are more things beyond that. And as I said, in my case, it was someone telling me that it was not for me. That is very direct, but there are many other things.
Do you think it's because of the educational system, discrimination from young, that men should do like scientific stuff and women should do like other stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's because of the educational system from schools?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Do you think the same? Do you think that the educational system has something to do with this choice? Or even before the educational system?
Stereotypes.
Yeah, but do you think that is only the, but when you say educational system, you mean schools or
Yes,
everything?
School, first, like, from young, like they are taught they shouldn't do stuff like this, but they should keep it. Like, I can speak from experience from Lebanon. We have a very discriminated society, so like it's always like first in class in math or science should be a guy. Like, the teachers prefer guys, while women should focus on literature or like poems or whatever.
But it is even before that.
I think it's because of gender roles. Like, for example, Germany is a very free country where the girls can decide what they want to do, but they're more interested in social sciences and languages. And I've seen it happen, but I think that the origins are gender roles.
And in there?
Gender roles.
Oh, gender roles, yeah.
Yeah.
I was understanding war, and then there is not a word.
I think just to add a little bit here, also the examples that we see around us. So for me, for example, my math teacher was always a guy,
Oh,
whereas my arts teacher was always a woman. And you see these examples subtly in the society, and therefore you kind of end up making an image like, okay, maybe I can never be that good at math, that I become a math teacher. And that's just the basic.
It's exactly like that.
Another example, sorry. Like, you're saying about your uncle, you shouldn't enter architecture. When we were like in our last year at school, we should go to university. We can study for university and call engineer, it's like school of engineering. So everyone thought, teachers, even women told like our colleagues or women, you shouldn't enter that. It's for men, it's really hard. You should do like more architecture, it's much easier for interior design. And give like civil engineering and mechanical engineering for guys.
Yeah, I see what you mean. But that is something explicit. I mean, that is something that someone tells you. But I think that there are all the things that makes everybody to think that at the end and say that. And it's also reference, like you don't see the people doing that. But it's also the way we are raised up. So if you think, I think I don't have the picture here, but if you think about the clothes that you use when you're a little girl or a little boy, what are the shirts that they sell for women? Which kind of messages do they have?
I mean, obviously, blue and pink and different shapes, and they, especially in the schools, really strict that guys do not wear pink.
Yeah, that is something that guys learn really quick, and I don't understand why. In my home, I have a boy and a girl. The boy is 8, the girl is 10, and he was wearing pink things, and he used to like to take the nails painted. But then at some point, he arrived home and said, "No, mom, not anymore, because this is for girls." And someone has to have told him that. But it's more than, it's also how we dress, and you say the shapes of the clothes, but also the messages. It's for a girl, it would say, "I want to be a princess," or I'm daddy's princess, and for boys sometimes it's I will be a champion and I will conquer the world. It's not exactly like that, but you get what I mean, and that is something that conditions us from the beginning. So we have, as we have said, we have several layers. So it's like family and our first steps in the world. Then we have school, of course. We have our teachers, our reference, as you said. And then we have to choose our degree, and we have many people around telling us what we can do and what we cannot do. And also, again, the references, the people that we know that are doing this job and that job and everything. So that is what makes us think that it's not something natural or biological only. Of course, there could be some related things to biology. Of course, normally we can have kids and boys cannot have kids, and that is something biological, okay. But there are many other things, and we cannot discriminate from both. So the idea of the project was trying to minimize the impact of these kind of roles and trying to take reference to the classrooms. And also, as I say, there are many layers, and one of them is family. So we wanted families to get involved. So these are the main pillars of our project. Trying to show reference, both for men and women, because if I take a woman to a class that is an engineer, and she speaks about what she does, it can also be a role model for a man. Why not? Because he will like what she's doing. No, it's simply that it's a woman. And then if it's a woman, the good thing is that the girls will also see a woman that does that job. So that was one of the main ideas that Sylvia and the university and many, a great team from here, from the School of Engineers, started to work in and started to develop. And at the end, what we had, and let me, because I'm running out of time. So at the end, so this is the people involved, okay, because we have, it emerged in 2019, and it was also some other projects that came before this one. But these projects were more focusing on here, on the people that were already studying engineering, and we wanted to go outside, so that's why this started. This is the support that we have from the university, the School of Engineers, the Vice Rector for Equality, the Equality Unit, and also the Generalitat is also involved on this. And the idea, as I said, was to promote vocations and what we do, which is the important thing. So this is what I say, the different layers. Okay, so we have female students, females role models that are all experts, that you have met some of them today. Okay, you have met Rosanna, which is in that we have a web page where all the experts are involved. So they go there, they just write their names, write a little bit of their bio, the CV, and then they came like part of a database where we can check if we need someone from some specific field, then we can check there, and we have all our experts, our woman experts. Then we have family involved, pre-university students,